Thank you for joining us this afternoon for the Crawford Home Health Care Agency Gender Identity, Titles and Pronouns Teaching. The topics that will be covered are policy and purpose, gender identity and expression, pronouns, non-gender specific language, confidentiality, transitioning individuals, violations, and then we will review some training scenarios. Regarding policy, names and pronouns. We should refer to each person by the name and the pronouns by which they want to be referred. If you don't know what pronouns to use, you can ask in a tactful and respectful way. For example, you can ask, "What pronouns do you use?" Or you can introduce yourself with the pronouns you use. "Hi, my pronouns are her, she, and she's." This may prompt someone to tell you what pronouns they use. Pronouns are terms used to substitute a person's name when they are being referred to in the third person. Some common pronouns include he, him, his, she, her, hers, and they, them, theirs. A person's gender should not be assumed based on the pronoun. Applicants and employees may choose the name they go by instead of their legal name. Requests to use a chosen name can be made on the job application or during onboarding for new employees, and at any time for current employees. Individuals have the right to be addressed by the name and pronoun they choose. Refusing to call a coworker or applicant or contractor by their chosen name and or pronouns is harassment. Purpose. Our company does not discriminate in any way on the basis of sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. This policy is designed to create a safe, productive work environment for all employees. This policy sets forth guidelines to address the needs of transgender, and gender non-conforming employees. This policy does not anticipate every situation that may occur with respect to transgender or gender non-conforming employees, and the needs of each transgender or gender non-conforming employee must be assessed on a case-by-case basis. In all cases, the goal is to ensure the safety and comfort of conforming employees while maximizing the employee's workplace integration and minimizing stigmatization of the employee. The definitions provided here are not intended to label employees in any way, but rather assist in understanding the policy and the obligations of employers. Employees may or may not use these terms to describe themselves. Gender identity and expression. Transgender describes people whose gender identity is different from their gender assigned at birth. Everyone has a sex assigned at birth, gender identity, gender expression, and sexual orientation. Gender identity is an individual's internal sense of being male or female, or an identity other than the traditional definitions of male or female. The way an individual expresses his or her gender identity is frequently called gender expression and may or may not conform to social stereotypes associated with a particular gender. Most people have a fixed identity as male or female. Those who do not or may not describe themselves as non binary or genderqueer. Everyone has a gender identity. Gender expression is an individual's characteristics and behaviors, such as appearance, dress, mannerisms, speech patterns, and social interactions that may be perceived as masculine or feminine. Sexual orientation. A person's physical or emotional attraction to people of the same and or other gender. Straight, gay, bisexual are some ways to describe sexual orientation. It is important to note that sexual orientation is distinct from gender identity and expression. Transgender people can be gay, lesbian, bisexual, or straight, just like non-transgender people. Pronouns. Regarding pronouns, let's get it right. Let's not assume. Gender pronouns can look like and are not limited to he, him, his, which are masculine pronouns, she, her, hers, which are feminine pronouns, they, them, theirs, which are neutral pronouns, sie, zir, zers, which are neutral pronouns, as well as sie, here, hers, also neutral pronouns. If there is a question of what pronoun a person wants to be referred to, you can introduce yourself with your preferred pronouns, which can make someone more comfortable expressing theirs. Start by sharing your own, for example. For example, hi, my pronouns are her, hers, and she. If I were to introduce myself to someone, I would say, hi, I'm Tanya. I use she pronouns. What about you? It may feel awkward at first, but eventually it becomes another one of those get to know you questions. Someone may ask, what if I make a mistake and misgender someone or use the wrong words and pronouns? Simply apologize and move on. Some people may be uncomfortable sharing their pronouns in a public setting. So be considerate and discreet when asking. Someone may ask, well, what does it mean if a person uses he and they or she and they? That simply means the person uses both of those pronouns. Regarding non-gender specific language. Excuse me. We can change wording to be non-gender or gender neutral. Some modifications in language suggestions can include, instead of saying, hello, how may I help you, ma'am or sir? You can simply say, how may I help you? Instead of saying he or she is waiting, you can simply say they are waiting. Instead of asking a coworker or employee, do you have a husband or a wife? You can try, do you have a partner or do you have a spouse? Instead of asking, do you have a son or a daughter? You can try simply asking, do you have children? Also, email signatures and voicemail greetings can include preferred pronouns. As an example, my email and voicemail greeting include my name, my title, my phone number, fax, and email, in addition to my pronouns are she, her, and hers. Regarding confidentiality and gender transition. Gender transition is a process that a person may take to bring themselves or their bodies into alignment with their gender identity. It's not just one step. Transitioning can include any or none of the following. They can tell their friends and family or their coworkers. They can change their name and their pronouns. They can update legal documents. And they may undergo medical interventions such as hormone therapy or surgical interventions, which are often referred to or called gender confirmation surgery. Some individuals may transition while at work, and others may not seek medical intervention. However, our company will foster a respectful work environment for transitioning individuals. An employee's transition should be treated with as much sensitivity and confidentiality as any other employee's private or highly personal life experiences. Employees in transition may be concerned about safety and employment issues if other people became aware that he or she has transitioned. Medical information received about an individual or employee is protected information. Remember, it is confidential. Managers and supervisors should be sensitive to these specific concerns and advise employees to respect the privacy and dignity of transgender employees. Questions regarding the employee should be referred directly to the employee, consistent with the employee's wishes. Issues that may arise should be discussed confidentially as soon as possible between the employee and the employee's manager and supervisor. Violations. Regarding violations and compliance, employees are asked to report any violations. Supervisors and managers have the duty to report any violations of compliance issues. These issues can be reported to a manager or a supervisor. They can be reported to the HR department, and they can also be reported to the EEOC department as well. They can also be reported on our compliance hotline, listed here and in the policy, at 123-456-7890. Our policies are consistent with the policies of other agencies such as the Equal Opportunity Commission, the Department of Justice, and the Office of Personnel management, including OPM's guidance regarding employee of transgender individuals in the workplace. The Compliance Department will verify compliance to this policy through various methods, including but not limited to periodic walkthroughs, business tool reports, internal and external audits, and any other necessary means of investigation. Violations will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. If it is determined that an employee has violated any regulation, corrective action may follow. An employee that witnesses abuse of elements contained within this policy are asked to report the incident at the earliest possible moment to either a supervisor or to the Compliance Department. Any incident reported in good faith is protected under the Crawford Home Health Care Agency's whistleblower policy. Now let's review a couple of training scenarios. Scenario 1 is regarding pronouns. After Chris announced to the co-workers that they go by the pronouns they and them, one co-worker, Kevin, refused to use the correct pronouns. Kevin told Chris, "Sorry, everyone is either a man or a woman. It isn't possible to be in between or neither. I don't believe in that. I'm going to call you he, like I always have." Question: is Kevin's behavior appropriate as one of our employees? Why or why not? Well, the answer to that is no. Kevin's behavior is in violation of the Crawford Home Health Care Agency Gender Identity, Title, and Pronoun Policy and the EEOC policy. Refusal to refer to an employee by their correct pronouns and name is disrespectful and considered harassment on the basis of gender identity expression. Supervisors have a duty to correct anyone they hear using the wrong name or pronoun. Scenario number 2. Names. Since she has started using her new name at work, Stephanie's co-worker Paula keeps calling her by her previous name. When Paula notices the mistake, she apologizes. However, Paula doesn't always notice the mistake. Even 3 months after Stephanie has been using her new name at work, Paula still uses the wrong name for Stephanie 25% of the time. Is Paula's behavior appropriate as one of our employees? Why or why not? No. Paula's behavior is not appropriate, and it is in violation of the Crawford Home Health Care Agency Gender Identity, Title, and Pronoun Policy, and also the EEOC policy. Repetitive use of the wrong name or pronouns for an employee, regardless of good intentions, is disrespectful and may be considered harassment on the basis of gender identity and gender expression. For our last scenario, it's regarding privacy. Jose's co-worker, Louis, has never met an out transgender person, and Louis wants to know more about how medical transitioning works. Louis asks Jose about his gender-affirming medical procedures. Now, Jose knows that Louis is asking these questions out of genuine curiosity and isn't trying to be rude, but it is making Jose uncomfortable. Is Lewis's behavior appropriate for a Crawford Home Health Care employee? Why or why not? Well, Lewis's behavior is not appropriate and it violates the Crawford Home Health Care Agency gender identity, title, and pronoun policy and the EEOC policy. This behavior also violates the equal employment opportunity and respect policies. Asking questions about transitioning, including medical transition, is disrespectful and may be considered harassment on the basis of gender identity and gender expression. The medical person, the medical personnel, the medical, personal, or intimate details about someone's gender identity, transgender status, or transition, medical or otherwise, are personal business. The individual decides when, with whom, and how much private information to share. Thank you so much for joining me for this training. Have a good day.